I don't love you anymore, Angela. Get out. Femi shouted at her. Angela stood outside in disbelief, holding her two daughters close as if they were the only solid thing left in her world. Her heart felt shattered, and she had nowhere else to go. Hello friends. Welcome to our story. Before we start, please like this video and subscribe. Also, please let us know in the comments where you are watching from. New York, London, maybe South Africa, or Jamaica. We want to know. Angela met Femi during their university days. They were inseparable, two young souls deeply in love. Everyone on campus admired their relationship, calling them the perfect couple. The chemistry between them was undeniable. At the time, Angela was a smart and hardworking young woman running a small online business selling clothes and accessories while studying. Femi, on the other hand, was a brilliant but struggling student with big dreams but no solid plan for the future. One evening, as they sat under a tree on campus watching the sunset, Femi turned to her with hope in his eyes. "One day I'll make you proud. I'll take care of you and our children." Femi said, "I know you will, Femi. I believe in you." Angela said, smiling warmly. She had already made up her mind. He was the one. After graduation and NYSC, they decided to get married, even though Femi had no job at the time. Angela believed in his potential. With the little money she made from her online business, she supported him for the first few years. They managed. Femi didn't have much, but he was kind, loving, and always promised her that better days were coming. She believed him with all her heart. But then things changed. Her business started to crumble. Orders stopped coming in, and what once seemed like a promising venture became a source of stress. "Femi, things are not looking good for me," Angela said, looking frustrated as she closed her laptop. Just when they thought things couldn't get worse, Femi finally secured a well-paying job at a big company. Angela was overjoyed. She thought their struggles were finally over. However, things took a dark turn. With the new job came new temptations. Femi changed. He started staying out late, coming home smelling of strange perfume, and avoiding Angela. Whenever she confronted him, he would get defensive or dismiss her concerns. One day, after suspecting that Femi was cheating, Angela bravely confronted him. "Femi, are you seeing someone else? You've been acting strange." Angela said angrily. Femi didn't deny it. Instead, he slapped her. "How dare you question me? Is it because you supported me before? Get out of my sight," Femi yelled. This wasn't the first time Femi had raised his hands against her, but it was the worst. Angela's heart broke a little more every day, but she stayed for the sake of her two daughters. The breaking point came one afternoon when Angela came home early and caught Femi with another woman in their matrimonial bed. "Femi, what is this? In our bed? Have you no shame?" Angela shouted. Instead of apologizing, Femi became enraged. He beat her mercilessly and threw her and her two daughters out of the house. "I don't love you anymore, Angela. Get out. I'm marrying Grace," Femi snapped. Angela stood outside in disbelief, her heart shattered. With nowhere to go, she moved in with a distant relative, but the house was cramped. She knew she couldn't stay there for long. Every day, Angela went out looking for jobs, but nobody wanted to hire a woman with no recent work experience. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, and she was still jobless. Desperate to provide for her daughters, she decided to take an unusual route. She hired a tricycle on hire purchase and started using it to drive passengers. It was hard work. The sun often left her exhausted, but she couldn't afford to give up. She had two children depending on her. As she picked up passengers daily, she was mocked and ridiculed by people who couldn't believe a beautiful woman like her was driving a tricycle. "See fine woman driving tricycle na. Life no balance," random passengers said while laughing. But Angela refused to be discouraged. "Let them say what they want. As long as I can feed my girls," Angela said to herself. One fateful afternoon, a man entered her tricycle. He seemed to be in a hurry, clutching a small bag tightly. He was kind, thanking her for the ride, but in his rush, he dropped his wallet inside the tricycle. Later that day, as Angela was cleaning the tricycle, she found the wallet. Inside was an international passport. From the name, she could tell the man was someone important. I must return this. What if this is important to him? Angela said to herself. After tracking the man down, she handed him the wallet. Sir, you dropped this in my tricycle. Angela said. You found my wallet? This had my passport. I just returned from Canada to visit my sick mother. You have no idea how much you've helped me. Daniel said. It's the right thing to do. Angela said, smiling. As they spoke, Daniel began to ask questions. How can a beautiful woman like you be driving a tricycle? What happened? Daniel asked. Angela hesitated at first, but then she told him everything. How she had supported her husband only for him to betray her and throw her and their daughters out. How she had been struggling to survive. Daniel was moved by her story. You've been through so much, Angela. No one deserves that. Daniel said softly. Over the next few weeks, Daniel continued to stay in touch. He would visit Angela and her daughters, bringing them food and offering his assistance whenever possible. Slowly, they grew closer, and eventually they started dating. A year later, Daniel proposed to Angela, and they got married. He took her and her daughters to Canada, where they started a new life. Daniel helped her rebuild her business, and soon she became successful again. Life was good, and her daughters were thriving in their new environment. Meanwhile, back in Nigeria, Femi's life was falling apart. The side chick he had left Angela for wasted all his money on frivolous things. When Femi could no longer provide the luxurious lifestyle she was used to, she left him for another man. Now Femi was alone, no wife, no children, and no money. He spent his days regretting what he had done to Angela, the woman who had once stood by him. One day, while sitting in his now empty house, Femi saw a picture on social media of Angela and her daughters in Canada. They looked so happy. Regret flooded his heart as he remembered how he had thrown away the wife of his youth, the woman who had stood by him when he had nothing. But it was too late. Angela had moved on, and she was never looking back. One evening, as Angela prepared dinner, she received a call from an unknown number. She hesitated but eventually answered. Hello. Angela answered. Her heart froze when she heard Femi's voice on the other end. Angela, it's me, Femi. His voice was heavy with desperation. I know I don't deserve it, Angela. I was blind. I betrayed you, and I've paid for it every single day since. But please, just let me see my girls. Even if it's the last thing I do. Femi said. Why are you calling me now, Femi? Angela queried, her voice calm but distant. You threw our daughters and me away like we were nothing, and now you want help? I know. I was wrong. I've lost everything, Angela. That woman, the one I left you for, she ruined me. I've got no job, no money, and no one to turn to. Please, just let me see my daughters, Femi said, his voice cracking. Angela paused. Part of her wanted to hang up the phone and shut the door on Femi forever. But another part, the part that believed in forgiveness and second chances, told her to give him one last opportunity, if only for the sake of her daughters. Angela, I'll think about it. She hung up. That night, as Angela lay in bed next to Daniel, she couldn't shake the conversation from her mind. Daniel noticed her restlessness and gently asked what was troubling her. She told him everything, about the call, Femi's plea, and the storm of emotion she felt inside. Daniel, ever the wise and patient man, listened quietly before speaking. Daniel, my love, you've been through so much, and you've come out stronger on the other side. You don't owe Femi anything. But if seeing his daughters will give you peace of mind, then maybe it's worth considering. Just know that whatever you choose, I'm here to support you. Angela nodded, grateful for Daniel's understanding. She knew he was right. She didn't owe Femi forgiveness, but her daughters deserved the chance to see their father if they wanted to. The next day, Angela sat with her daughters, Joy and Eunice, who were now 9 and 7 years old. She knew they remembered their father, but they hadn't seen him in years. Joy, the older of the two, was more outspoken. Eunice was more reserved. "Girls, I spoke to your father today," Angela said gently. The girls paused, looking at their mother with curiosity and confusion. "Our father?" Joy said. "He wants to see you both. He's been going through a hard time, and he regrets everything that happened." Angela said, "But he left us, Mama. He didn't want us." Joy said, frowning. "Yes, he made terrible choices and he hurt us all. But people make mistakes, and sometimes they realize too late what they've lost. It's up to you both if you want to speak to him." Angela said, taking a deep breath. Joy and Eunice exchanged glances, silent for a while. Finally, Joy spoke up. "I want to talk to him. I want to know why he left us." Joy said. Eunice, who had been listening quietly, nodded. "Me too," Eunice said. A few days later, the girls sat in front of the laptop for a video call. Femi's face appeared on the screen, looking older and worn out. His once proud and confident demeanor was gone, replaced by regret and sorrow. "Hello, Joy." "Hello, Eunice," Femi said, his voice barely above a whisper. The girls stared at him, unsure of what to say. They had been so young when he left, but the pain of abandonment lingered in their hearts. "Why did you leave us?" Joy asked, bluntly, her eyes narrowing. "I made a big mistake, Joy. I thought I could find happiness somewhere else, but I was wrong. I was selfish, and I didn't realize how much I was hurting you and your mother." Femi said, swallowing hard. "But you hurt us. You hurt Mama." Eunice said softly, her big eyes filling with tears. "I know. I regret it every day. I wish I could take it all back, but I can't. All I can do now is say I'm sorry and hope you can forgive me." Femi said while nodding, his own eyes glistening. The girls were silent for a moment, processing his words. Finally, Joy spoke again. "We need time. We don't know if we can forgive you yet." Joy said, "Take all the time you need. I'm just grateful you're willing to talk to me," Femi said while nodding understandingly. While Angela watched her daughter's first conversation with Femi from a distance, she felt a mix of emotions. Part of her was relieved that he seemed remorseful, but another part was still angry. Could a man like Femi ever truly change? Later that evening, Daniel sat next to her on the couch, sensing her inner turmoil. "Are you okay, Angela?" Daniel asked. Angela, leaning forward, said, "I don't know, Daniel. I'm glad the girls are getting some closure, but I can't help feeling conflicted." Daniel, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder, "It's only natural after everything you've been through. It's hard to just forgive and forget." "I'm not sure I can ever forgive him," Angela said. "Daniel," speaking softly, "you don't have to, my love. But maybe this is more about the girls finding peace than anything else." As Angela tried to put the situation with Femi behind her, life in Canada continued to flourish. Her online clothing business was thriving again, and Daniel was by her side every step of the way. She expanded her brand across North America. They were a team, both in business and in life, and she couldn't have asked for a more loving and devoted husband. Months later, Angela received even more wonderful news. She was pregnant again. This time, it wasn't just one child growing inside her, it was two. The day she found out, she rushed home to tell Daniel, who had been anxiously waiting for her after her doctor's appointment. Angela beaming as she walked into the living room. "Daniel, we're having twins." Daniel's face lit up. "Twins? I can't believe it." He picked her up, spinning her around in excitement. "I'm going to be the proud father of not one, but 2 boys." Daniel said joyfully. Months later, Angela gave birth to 2 beautiful, healthy baby boys. They named them Peter and Paul, symbols of the new life they had built together. Their home was now filled with the sounds of laughter from the boys and the girls, Joy and Eunice, who had embraced their new siblings with open arms. As Angela held her sons in her arms, she reflected on how far she had come. From being thrown out of her home in Nigeria with nothing but her 2 daughters, to driving a tricycle just to survive, she had now built a life of love, success, and happiness. She had found a husband who cherished her, children who adored her, and a business that continued to flourish. Angela had found peace in her heart. While she had forgiven Deo for the sake of their children, she knew she had made the right decision to walk away from that chapter of her life. She had given her daughters the chance to know their father, but they had also seen firsthand the strength of their mother, who had risen from the ashes of betrayal and built something beautiful. Years later, on the anniversary of their wedding, Angela and Daniel sat on the balcony of their home, watching their children play in the yard. Peter and Paul chased after Joy and Eunice, their laughter echoing through the air. "Can you believe how much our lives have changed?" Angela said, resting her head on Daniel's shoulder. "I knew from the day I met you that you were a force of nature, Angela." Daniel replied with a smile. "There's nothing you can do." Angela smiled, her heart full. She had come a long way from the woman who had once been beaten and cast aside. Now, she was surrounded by love, and her future was as bright as ever, and as she watched her children laugh and play, she knew that this was only the beginning of a new, beautiful journey. If this story touched you, let us know in the comments and tell us where in the world you're watching from. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more emotional, dramatic, and unforgettable stories. Until next time, stay kind, stay strong, and keep watching.